For ACUSports.com, I'm Grant Boone talking some women's hoops with head coach Julie Goodenough. Her team 1-0 in the Southland Conference with two big games spread out over about, 700, 800, 900 miles here over the next couple of days. But first, let's talk about, Coach, the win last Saturday in Conway, Arkansas. The two best teams in the non-conference portion of the schedule matched up, and you got Central Arkansas by 12. Take us back to Conway and why that went so well.
Well, what a game. I mean, it was a tremendous game. Both teams played really, really well. UCA is really tough to beat at home. I mean, I would be shocked if they drop any more games at home. I mean, they're really good there. One of the best defensive teams in the league. And so, I felt like our players really had to do a great job of executing, taking high percentage shots. We did not do so well with that in the first half, and we forgot how to block out and rebound in the first half. Kept the game really close, but really thought our players did a great job, especially in the fourth quarter, just slowing down on offense, trying to get the highest percentage shots we could, and did a great job in the final 15 minutes of the game blocking out and keeping them away from second chance opportunities.
They had 19 offensive rebounds in the first half. You told me after the game that you may or may not have talked about blocking out and getting on the glass in the halftime locker room. They only got one offensive rebound in the second half. It's one thing to talk about it in the locker room, but it's another thing to do it against a very good team, isn't it?
Absolutely. I felt like, going into it statistically, we were the top two rebounding teams in the league, and we knew that was going to be a big key for that game, who was going to emerge as the best rebounding team. And it was really them in the first half and us in the second half. But definitely, when you play teams at home, they can't get second and third opportunities to score in a possession. And so, blocking out and keeping people away from offensive rebounds is really a key anytime that you're traveling.
I described it on the radio as it was happening as a heavyweight fight. It felt like that to me. Did it feel like that at all?
It was a great game. I mean, I felt like it was a really well-played game. Both teams really, trying to bring their very best game, playing good team basketball. So I think it's probably a great example of what we're going to face night after night in our league.
It's the third consecutive time that you've handed an opponent its first home loss of the season, third straight road win for you in which you've given a team its first home loss. We go back to Eastern Washington, then Idaho, and then now Central Arkansas. All three teams significantly above 500 on the season, which leads to things like RPI and ratings percentage index. These are terms that we've known about, but we haven't talked about them much at ACU because they haven't affected us until now. And your team is now 12th in the nation. It measures win-loss record, opponents' win-loss record, and such. It's cosmetic in a way, but it's pretty nice cosmetics too, isn't it?
Well, I feel like that we have played a really good schedule. I would put our schedule up against most mid-major schools in the country, and we really tried to challenge our players. We were probably more successful than a lot of people thought we would be, traveling a lot the month of December. We only had our New Year's Eve game at home the month of December. Other than that, we were on the road. But you have to learn how to win on the road, and I think that experience maybe has helped our team feel like, hey, we're on the road. Maybe we're not sleeping in our own beds, going to class, but we know how to do this. We've probably gained some confidence that we can be successful on the road. The RPI is really cool, and that's what we keep telling our players. Hey, this is really cool. It doesn't mean that we're going to win the next game just because we're, number 12 in the country, but it's a really, I think, a good place for our program and a good thing for a team at ACU to be, nationally ranked like that in an RPI structure. So, it's cool. It doesn't have a lot of weight or bearing, but it's really, I think, speaks volumes to where our team was maybe a couple of years ago and where we are now, and just able to face, big opponents, especially on the road. I think those road wins is what has kind of moved us up in the RPIs and playing good quality opponents. And so it's, like I said, I don't know another measurement of the RPI except say it's really cool.
Yeah, well, and of course it does help the selection committees in the men's and women's tournaments choose teams. Mm-hmm. That's not an option for you for this year or next. But I'll tell you, it's become part of my morning routine. I check it, and it is mighty neat to look and see UConn, and then Stanford, Notre Dame, and Baylor in Texas, Abilene Christian, number 12. Okay, road wins, great, very impressive. But now you come home, and you get – I don't know of a team in the Southland Conference that plays with more swagger, and I mean that in the most generous, positive way than Northwestern State. they have reason to have swagger, don't they?
They do. I mean, they're coached really hard, and they respond to that. Their co-head coaches do a great job with them. They've got the best point guard in the conference on their team, and Janelle Perez. And, when she gets ready to, she just throws the team on her back, and she just carries them on to victory. And, they've won the conference tournament the past 2 years going in as a huge underdog, and it doesn't faze them at all. I mean, they just figure out how to win, and so they're a little bit scary in that regard. We're excited about playing them at home. I feel like we've played them very well at their place the last 2 years, and then we just let Janelle say, okay, now it's my turn to win the game. And, we've got to figure out how to just kind of keep our composure. Whether we're up, down, late in the game, we've got to be in the game and have an opportunity to win it at the end. But it's going to be a really tough game. There's a lot of buzz about the whole RPI thing. A lot of people in the community are going, "Wow, what's going on over there with your program?" And I'm like, "Come to the game Thursday. Come see what the Southland Conference is all about." Northwestern State's phenomenal. I think it's going to be a great game. Whether you like women's basketball or not, I mean, come and I think you'll become a fan. It's going to be a great game, and one of those that will probably more than likely come right down to the wire. I mean, it's going to be one of those you're going to want to be here from start to finish.
Well, first things first, you have that game, and I know all of the focus is on that, but you will turn around and take another one of these marathon road trips. They put you on Sunday, I think probably because you're playing on Thursday night against Northwestern State. You played down at Nichols. You got them down there a couple of years ago. I thought it was one of your best wins of that season 2 years ago. They came back and returned the favor in a big way last year. And Nichols has a little something going. They're 1-1 in conference.
Yeah, their first conference game was really good. They beat a very talented Lamar team. So that's as soon as we take care of our Northwestern State game, we'll start getting ready for that. I've got another coach doing that scout. But yeah, we'll leave on Friday to head to Thibodaux. We've got to wait for our players to get out of their January term class on Friday afternoon, and then we'll drive about halfway, spend the night, and head on and get there in time to watch our men play on Saturday and have a good practice there. But every team in the conference is going to be ready, and all the games. I mean, if you have to be totally respectful of your opponent, you've got to really prepare for everyone. And we have so many different styles of play in the league. It's really fun as a coach, to get ready for the next opponent. Nichols is so different from Northwestern State. And so, our focus is on Thursday night's game, and then we'll get ready to go take on the Colonels.
Well, it should be a big night at Moody Coliseum. Thursday night, 7 o'clock tip-off against the two-time defending Southland Conference tournament champions, hosted by the ACU Wildcats, currently number 12 in the nation in RPI. For Julie Goodenough, I'm Grant Boone for ACUsports.com.